Good afternoon and welcome to the October session of Lunch with Haley. I'm Brad Bialy, Haley Marketing's Director of Digital Marketing, joined today by Liza and Heather, Digital Marketing Advisors with Haley Marketing. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Heather, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're located today.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Heather. I am originally from Buffalo, New York. I'm currently in Europe right now. So that's kind of cool, dialing in from 8 p.m. over here. So yeah, that's a little bit about where I'm from and where I'm located right now.
Excellent. Liza, let's pass it to you. Who are you?
Hey.
What do you do for our clients? And where are you dialing in from today?
Hi, I'm Liza Florczak. I'm a digital marketing advisor, and for our clients, I mainly focus on social media, blogging, and our Haley Mail program, which is email marketing. And I'm dialing in from Buffalo, New York. We're in our fall
Cool.
season, but it's sunny out today, so I'm happy with that.
Excellent. Friends, we're going to be talking all about social media today and really the strategies that you can deploy in 2025 and beyond. Today's agenda, because I love some nice talking points. You can expect to learn in the next hour or so why social media matters. Do we even need to be using social media for staffing and recruiting firms? Does it still matter in 2025? Your employer brand as a strategic differentiator. Can we really be different in staffing and recruiting? At the end of the day, we all put great people to work and great opportunities. We all sort of do the same thing. Can your employer brand be a strategic differentiator? And we're going to talk engagement, analytics, and examples. Benjamin, I see you're raising your hand here on my Zoom window. To be honest, friend, I don't know what that means. If you have a question, feel free to use the chat window. That's what I'm going to monitor. So feel free just to use that chat window. Let us know what you're thinking. We will be answering questions throughout the presentation. We're not going to save them all till the end. We'll talk about it directly as something comes up. So with that, why does social media matter in 2025? Heather, I want you to get us started. Is social media still a big deal?
Yeah, for sure. I'll jump right in. Talking a little bit more than a website. So basically, clients and candidates really, we are seeing that they're searching for real-time reviews. They want to see those team photos or those success stories that websites alone can't really deliver. So, for example, here you're going to a restaurant. You're going to type in, you're going to go to Google and type in that restaurant. That website is great for your menu, but people are always wanting to see more. So I think you want to look and see like what people are saying about the restaurant, the pictures of the food. You want to see a little bit more than just the menu sometimes. So I think adding in those reviews and that personal touch is really key to making you stand out on social and why it's becoming a little bit more bigger of a deal. And I think that goes a little bit more into hand in hand with engagement leads to growth. So social media isn't just about visibility. It's really a two-way street. So it's about building those relationships that lead more to business and better hires. So it doesn't just have to end with posting, right? You want to get more people involved, whether that's doing a giveaway and having people do having people like your post, comment, tag others, or follow you to win that giveaway. I think by having people engage with your posts and your social media, it ultimately will increase that post being pushed out to others. So I think those two things are really why social media is kind of super important now than ever, because people are really always wanting more for that.
And when
Yeah,
we
and
think
then
about
take,
building relationships, sorry, Liza, when we think
oh,
about
go ahead.
building relationships, that's really what this industry is great at, right? We put great people to work in great opportunities. And when we think about building those relationships that lead to more business and better hires, completely agree with you, Heather. Sorry to cut you off, Liza. You got the last two.
Yep, you're good. So in order to get that engagement, people have to trust you though from the start. They need to want to engage and they have to know who you are in order to show you that they are interested in you. So you do that through posting and getting people involved just through engagement, as Heather mentioned, but having them have something to actually respond to, ask a question, ask their thoughts, give them something to respond to, but you have to show that proof that you're the right person to give that credibility to. You're dealing with people's lives, their careers. They want to know they can trust you with their job and finding the candidates and placements, they want to know you're the real deal. And in order to do that, they have to trust you. So they want to see the human side of things. They want to learn to know you without actually knowing you. They want to see that other people trust you. So posting those testimonials, posting those success stories from your team itself, all of those are showing people that have trusted you in the past and is building your credibility. So that goes right into the social proof. People want to see how other people interact with you. They want to see other people's comments, their reviews, the case studies that you have made in the past. They want to see all of this, but you have to give them a place to actually see it. You have to be seen to be known. So you have to place everything in a place that is easy for them to access, which right hand first is social media. And you can do it in a lot of creative ways that your website might not attract them in the first hand.
Yeah, we are all window shopping in 2024 and what will be 2025. We as consumers, whether it's for a new t-shirt or staffing and recruiting services, are window shopping. We're going to a website, we're going to social media, we're doing our due diligence. Things like building trust and credibility, having that social proof enables your candidates and enables your clients to make decisions about you without your true involvement. And we need to make sure that we're using social, as Liza just mentioned, to build that trust and credibility and to have that social proof. So yeah, social media is absolutely a big deal, and it's going to continue to be a big deal into 2025. I want to talk about employer branding as a strategic differentiator. When we think about differentiating our staffing and recruiting firms, when we think about what makes us truly unique, when we think about what makes us different, we can use that employer branding as a strategic differentiator. So when we think about your secret weapon for standing out, Liza, Heather, get us started here. What is it that we should be looking at as an employer branding standpoint to stand out in the marketplace?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, posting jobs and posting those the typical graphics that we're seeing is super important, but it's also about culture, not just the jobs. 75% of job seekers consider an employee's brand before applying. So you want to make sure you're showcasing why candidates should choose you over over your competition. So people want to see, or excuse me, people want to know what it's actually like to be there or to work with you. They care about the behind the scenes, which is what we're starting to see and starting to show in social media. People really want to head to your socials and check out who you really are. So I think, and that kind of builds on your team tells the story. Getting your team involved is super important right now. People want the inside scoop. They want to hear from the employees and the people who are living your company culture. When talking with Liza about this, we were brainstorming a little bit and saying, well, who are you going to trust when you're buying a car? Are you going to trust your car salesman, or are you going to trust the mechanic? You really want to trust someone that's in the trenches every day and seeing exactly exactly what they're doing. So I think it's important to showcase that in standing out.
Yeah, and your team also has a voice and they have a reach that your company profiles might not have. So when we think about your team telling the story, let's say that you have 10 team members across Brad's staffing firm. You have recruiters, you have salespeople, you have split desk, whatever it might be. You have 10 people that work at Brad's staffing firm. They're all connected with 1,000 people on LinkedIn. Now you have 10,000 people that you could potentially get in front of. All those individuals are telling a unique story that aligns with your brand. That amplifies the organizational voice, right? We want to make sure there's consistency, but that amplifies the organizational voice, but gets it to a larger audience. I could not agree more with your team telling the story. We're going to talk personal branding in a little bit here and really the power that gets behind that. But we need to absolutely make sure that our team is involved in the strategy. Liza, let's talk about storytelling.
Yeah, so storytelling is obviously a huge weapon for standing out right now and in 2025 moving forward. It's something you have to keep in mind when you're presenting yourself to make someone engage. You can't just post, apply now for this job. They need to learn more. They need to hear the story behind it. They need to hear the story of why should I apply for this job? It's easy enough to just say the job description, say what you're hiring for, and get someone to apply, but it's not so easy anymore. Job descriptions, people can get lost in bios. Things can become corporate very, very quickly. You have to show you're not a faceless corporation. Show your team is passionate about helping clients and candidates. It's a very scary time finding a job, finding the right fit for their company. It's scary, and they want to know that you're not just a company that's going to place somebody there and leave them and not help them again. They want to trust you, and that through your stories is how you can totally make them understand this. Stories can help people connect with you on an emotional level. It helps them really bypass any mental barriers they put up. So maybe they've heard things in the past from someone else where it was a bad story. Now you're telling a new story that has nothing to do with that story, and there's no barriers attached, so someone can really understand you without those emotions attached to it. Another way through storytelling is you want to make them feel FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want them to think that anybody can join this company and anybody can get this job. You want them to think, I want to be in this job and I don't want to miss out on this. I want to be in this story and I want to be this person too. So you really can do that through storytelling. As far as cutting cuts with employer branding, huge. Once someone understands your culture, once you know your culture and who you are and how to present yourself, you are attracting the right fit talent, the right quality talent, and the right person that's the right fit for your company. You're becoming more targeted and intentional with your efforts, therefore getting the right person in that seat. You're not wasting as much time and money on this, so it definitely can help you cut costs in the long run with these intentional efforts.
I can't speak more highly of storytelling. If you're at all a listener of either our Insights podcast or Take the Stage podcast, I talk about Alex Hermosi quite a bit, who talks about creating one-of-one content. And how do you create one-of-one content? You create content that no one else can create. Anybody can talk about resume tips. Anybody can talk about how you need a staffing partner in Buffalo, New York. How can we put our unique story on that content to create great content that people want to read and consume and listen to and watch, but is unique to us? What is our story? And I was actually talking with a client yesterday, and they were saying, "Well, Brad, how do we create that story? How do we create that one-on-one content?" And the example that I kind of came up with on the fly was, well, if we're going to talk about resume tips, instead of saying these are the 5 ways to improve your resume in the fall, maybe instead we change that to, in October, we reviewed 700 resumes. These are the 5 trends that we saw that cut candidates to the top of the list, right? So now we have one-of-one content. We have a story. We have a voice. We have something that's so unique to our staffing firm that no one else has because it's true to us and it's personal to us. So I could not agree more about the power of storytelling and the impact that has on differentiating your brand across social when we are sort of in a commoditized industry. All right, let's keep it moving. Help, what do I post now? Heather, I think we're going to get started here with you, but this is a question that I will say I get asked every week. I was going to say every day. It's not that frequently, but it is every week. It's, Brad, I hear you. Or in this case, Heather, Liza, I hear you. I know I need to be on social media. There's a question from Rosanna here that we're going to get to in a second, and another question in a different window that we're going to get to in a second. I hear you. Okay, social media matters in 2025. But where the heck do I get started? What am I supposed to be posting? So Heather, Liza, talk to us. What should we be posting in 2025 to cut through the clutter and cut through the noise that is social media?
Yeah, I think a big thing we're going to stress later on in this presentation is it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? I think we have to take it piece by piece. So one of those things that you could start off with it is pretty simple. It's celebrating successes. Everyone likes to see big and small wins from either if you're the one that's accepting that win or if you're the one posting it. So I think, for example, you're landing a big client, post it. Someone's got another certification, celebrate it. Show those big and small wins. I think from a perspective of making a difference for clients and candidates, people like to see that small and those small and big wins. And then industry insights, shares trends and valuable knowledge to position yourself as a thought leader. So I think adding your unique perspective and adding value to the conversation is super important right now. People are always wanting to learn. And I think something just showing like, hey, we learned this. You might also find it valuable too in sharing that, posting that. I think something I like to live by is always giving a little more than you take out of a situation. So I think that kind of comes into play here, and something that people that are using social and are going to start using social should also live by as well. So really using your platform as positioning yourself as an industry, a thought leader.
Yeah, I was listening to a great podcast this morning. Again, if you listen to our podcast, I talk about modern wisdom quite a bit, and they were talking about the impact of false peaks. when we think about celebrating success. And I fall into this trap quite a bit. You're climbing that mountain, you hit a peak, and it's a false peak because you're always looking at the peak that comes after it. You're always looking at what's next. So we fail to celebrate our success, especially on social media as an organization, because we're looking at, well, what's that 3-year plan, that 5-year plan? We haven't quite hit the true peak that we're looking for. So we miss out on all those smaller peaks along the way. And ultimately, at the end of the day, reaching the destination isn't the fun part. It's the journey that sort of gets you to the destination that's the fun part. So, Heather, I think celebrating success, not only is it a great way to share great content that you should be proud of, it's also a great way to get your team involved. It's a great way to celebrate other people. It's a great way to celebrate what your recruiters or your sales team are doing. It's a great way to celebrate your own clients and what they're doing or your candidates. So, could not agree more. Liza, talk to us about company culture.
Yeah, so as far as company culture, people want to see what your team is doing. They want to see your friends. They want to see you guys all work together and have fun together and aren't just clocking away, just doing your job every day. They want to know you're a good culture and a good community to be a part of. So through that, you can have your generic post. Obviously, we need to show you what you do, how you could help them, but you also want to show who you are as a team. Peel back those layers and humanize yourselves. So maybe you have a team lunch once a month. Maybe you're attending a conference. Maybe you have a candid moment in the office where you just snap a quick picture. Anything like this is super easy to post on social media. Your team loves to see themselves featured. Everyone that works with you loves to see people they work with, their faces showing, say, oh, I recognize that person. I've worked with them before. It's great to see human connection on social media specifically. And when you can create that specifically showcasing your culture, that is the best way to do it. It's boosting your overall brand, and it's really easy and fun to post. You're already having these fun events in the office. I know I have a lot of conversations with clients saying, oh, we have this Thanksgiving dinner coming up in the office next month, or we're going to a conference. And I always remind them to send me a photo, but sometimes they forget and I'll remind them again, but sometimes you forget and it's easy to, but once again, something to keep top of mind, social media, simple photo, click of a button, you can get it out there super quick. Another thing you can do is showcase your team. So it goes hand in hand with company culture. You want to humanize your brand, showcase their personalities, their daily routines, their contributions. Once again, we're peeling back those layers of them. We're humanizing them. We want to find ways to show their talents. You can do this through interviewing your team. Ask them simple questions. What do you like? What's a tradition coming up? What's your favorite thing to do in Buffalo, New York? Show people that you're local. Show that you care about where you are at. Show that you're not just here to sell a service. You're actually people that want to work with you. And then lastly, for video, we have seen this as a high trending thing right now. On LinkedIn specifically, we have been seeing this as well. Video posts get 48% more engagement. So Haley Marketing, we've been incorporating video content a lot more into our posts. And we'll touch on this a little bit further, but don't be afraid to test out new things, especially with video content. This could be an easy way to get your team involved. You can create a 30-second video of here who I am, here's a success story. Your team member could read a testimonial and post a video about it instead of having that text on an image. If that testimony is about them specifically, that's great. So there's a lot of different ways that you can think through how to incorporate video showcasing your team, all to make an impact overall.
Yeah, and I think one more note just about video is it's a little tricky right now because the algorithm is always changing, whether it's Instagram, TikTok. So I think making sure just we're like we just said earlier, we're testing things out right now with video, but it is a little bit harder to stay on top of the algorithm for the video side. So it should be interesting to see how things play out, especially with LinkedIn testing some videos and reels over there. So that's always something to keep in mind.
Couple questions coming in here. Heather, Liza, do we think memes are a good way to get people engaged on social media?
Definitely. We have that actually on our upcoming slide, and
Cool.
so we can touch on that a little bit more. But once again, it's a really great way to reflect on a common feeling that everyone sees in the staffing industry that often you can't put into words. So if you have a lighthearted way to put it and relate to someone, I think it's a really easy way.
And another question, do you need crazy equipment for our selfie videos and the, production, you can't see it because of the background, the production studio that exists on the iPhone, is that good enough for staffing and recruiting videos?
I can take this one. Yeah, I think I don't think you need anything crazy equipment wise. I think it's more to pay attention to the trends. That's what's gonna really get the algorithm to pick up your video. Obviously, when you have great lighting and great audio, that does help, but I don't think it's mandatory to have as of right now. Liza, feel free to chime in on that one.
Yeah, just really keeping in mind what social media is. Shorter video content. Don't go posting a 2-minute long video. No one's going to sit there and watch that. You want to post a 15 to 30-second hard-hitting video. Simple, easy. You can shoot it on your iPhone. Make sure it's upright and straight and looks good, but it can be as easy as that. You don't need anything high tech.
And one more question from Susan here. There's a couple in the chat, but I'm actually Rosanna and Joyce. I'm going to hold on those specifically until a little bit later, if you don't mind. Susan mentioned in storytelling or case studies or sharing success stories, is it a valuable asset if you don't use a candidate or employee's name? Many people, she had said, many people are not working for a staffing company. They're looking for a job at one of our clients. So how do you get around the issue of people not wanting their names on social media? Either of you want to take that?
Yeah, I can take this one. So I've had this happen for my clients as well. And one thing that we do is we include the job title of what they were placed into. So it's not their name, it's the job, and then the industry that they were placed into. So then whoever is viewing this testimonial has an idea of, okay, that's the job I can get, and that's the industry we can get. And once again, if you have testimonials in various industries, that's showcasing your success in all across the board.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself. We either do that or we'll just put just candidate. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's a problem, because I know some people do not like to share their name, so that's totally understandable for sure.
And I might just add to ask, right? So you don't know that someone doesn't want to use their name or company logo until you ask them. And we have found great success in having that dialogue and having that conversation. So before you're making that assumption, reach out and ask. Talk to the individuals that you're working with on the applicant side. Talk to the clients that you're working with and ask them, hey, you gave us a great testimonial. You gave us a case, not a case story, but you gave us a testimonial we'd love to build into a case story. Can we feature that? Can we include your name? Can we include your picture? Because my assumption is they'll be proud of that. They'll be proud of wanting to be featured. So make sure you're at least asking. Couple more questions here, but let's keep it moving. So let's get inspired with some more ideas and some more examples. Heather, Liza, where do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So we have examples from Brad, Steve, and Adam, which are all really great examples and LinkedIn profiles if you want to check them out after to connect with. They really do a good job at connecting with their audience on a deeper level, in my opinion. They're frequently posting. I know it's hard sometimes to get on LinkedIn few times a week and get creative, but they do a really great job. And so here are a few examples of it. So Steve and Adam, their posts often reflect the common feelings, stories that both candidates and clients are feeling in the staffing industry. And this helps them to see that we know what you're going through, but in a lighthearted way. We're not showing them, hey, we know this is a struggle. We get it. We're showing them, we get it, and let's kind of laugh about it. And when we post things like this, you see the engagement on these posts sparks comments. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Sometimes there's some arguments in Adams that I've seen of, no, I haven't experienced this before. But once again, it's all about that human connection, that connectivity. It gets people talking. So although sometimes there is some disagreements in those comments, you have that engagement and there's conversation. It's human to human. And I think, in my opinion, it is a great way to connect. As far as what Brad does, he does a really great job with video. So do you want to touch on this, Brad?
Yeah, I know he's listening. I am so mad I changed my shirt ahead of this webinar and that I'm wearing the same shirt that's in this video right now. I had a black shirt on and I blended in so much with the background that I had to change at like 1:59 right before we got started. So what I do for my content specifically on LinkedIn, and I appreciate you including me alongside the meme god and Adam here. What I like to do with my video on social media, I host our podcast over here at Haley Marketing. So Secrets of Staffing Success has 2 podcasts under it, Insights and Take the Stage. What I do is I take that long video asset or that podcast asset that is usually 30 to 45 minutes, and we chop it up into shareable clips. So we break that down into 30-second clips and sometimes 2 to 3 minute clips if the take is really, really good. And then I sprinkle that across social media once or twice a day until the next episode drops. So if you're sitting here thinking, well, what video content could I be creating? Have a general conversation with somebody on your team. Record it over Zoom, record it over, we use a tool called riverside.fm to kind of give you the behind the scenes of what works well for Haley. record it over some software, just have a conversation though, and then clip out the best parts. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. Again, I appreciate you sharing. I am going to look ahead at the slide deck next time and wear a different shirt so that I don't look exactly the same as what's on everyone's screen. Heather, you got anything to add on this one before I click over to the next slide?
I would just ask if you could touch on a little bit how LinkedIn is picking up some random videos a little bit here.
Absolutely. So thank you for that nudge. So LinkedIn is starting to roll out a Reels style video player. So you may have noticed it already as you're looking on mobile. As you're scrolling, videos are showing up more and more. Once you click into that video, you can then swipe to continue seeing more videos. It stinks on a social media presentation to not say this is how you get into that world, but I don't think we know yet. I will say after posting probably 7 to 10 videos a week for the last year, one of my videos was picked up out of all of the effort that I put in, which ended up getting, close to 500,000 views on LinkedIn, which was great. It was a good dopamine spike for the day. But, at the end of the day, we all have goals over here and we're all trying to achieve something, right? So I wish, friends, I had the answer. Here's how you get into that sort of recommended video slot. I don't, but there is value in the consistency of doing something, right? Eventually, things pick up and your audience catches wind of it. So thanks for that nudge, Heather. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
all right,
of course.
Let's talk about some more examples.
Yeah, so we touched on a little bit earlier on videos, and we mentioned how they've been increasing in popularity over the summer. We had our annual summer company event. We decided, Liza and I wanted to test this out for Haley Marketing. So we got a bunch of people involved. It was really awesome. We sat down together and picked out maybe 10 to 20 sounds that we had ideas for, and kind of got our employees involved in them. The first one is David and Steve. It was a trending sound about it looks like you're just here for the zip line, and we actually did a ropes course. So we had David saying, it looks like you're just here for the zip line. And Steve's like, what? And then the second video pans over to Steve on the zip line. So that was a fun one to do. And then our second one was when you finally see your coworkers in person. And it's just talking about, it's like a trendy sound about like, where have you been? All my like stuff like that. Where have you been? Or like, hey bestie, stuff like that. So that was super fun to get the team involved. I know a couple of people came up to us later and were like, that was so fun. Like, I never would have done that. You really got me out of my comfort zone. So that really made Liza and I feel good on that. And we actually got Brad involved too. So there was a trending sound with Hannah Montana, actually. I think it was Hannah Montana, right, Liza?
Yeah.
Nothing
So
screams
it's like,
Brad Bialy more than Hannah Montana.
yeah, but we'll say that, yeah. So it was her saying back to the computer, let's see if I got any new comments. And then it's like, oh man. So we took a pan of Brad walking to his computer and saying like, let's see if I got any new comments. And then we panned to the screen and it was that viral LinkedIn video. And then he was like, let's see if I got any new comments. And then he was like, oh man, and shuts his laptop. So you can check those out on our socials. That should be coming out soon. But these were just a few of our really fun videos. So it's definitely something that you can get your company involved in and kind of add some fun into the office. So
great question from Lissy here, and I hope I said that right. I apologize if I did not. I try to find inspiration on social media for those fun culture posts, but there's not a lot of content from staffing agencies or employment agencies. Where are, I guess, Liza and Heather, where are you getting your inspiration for our content? And more importantly, where can the people listening today get inspiration for their content?
yeah, so for this one of my clients, I go on their Explorer page and I see it's based off of what you like and what you view. So I've tried to kind of change the algorithm a little bit to see those types of videos that I want to see. But as far as how we found our trending sounds, Liza, do you want to touch on this a little bit?
Yeah, so pretty much me and Heather live on social media. We love social media, so we're hearing trends and sounds consistently. So really when we hear something, we bookmark it ourselves and then think, how does this apply to Haley? And then we also throw it into AI. to come up with how it relates back to staffing. So that is a huge part. Another thing that you guys can use to draw ideas from is AI for creativity 100%. So when it came to these two sounds, the ropes course, and we needed it to relate back, we needed the best verbiage. We threw it into chat and said, this is the goal and this is what we do and what's the best way to phrase this so it makes sense. So that's definitely a way we copy and steal a little bit from other people. You gotta see what other people are doing, see what's working and see what's trending, and then apply that to yourself, make it personal, make it speak to you, make it speak to your brand, and see how it goes.
Oh, Brad,
I got you. One more question from Nick here in the question window. Should you always use a trending sound? And do we have any data that supports that it impacts reach at all?
Yeah, for sure. This one is a little bit tricky because depending on what platform you're on. So if we're talking about TikTok, the trending sounds can come and go in a day. So that one is a little bit harder to stick with. Well, on Instagram, we do recommend using a trending sound. If you go to Instagram and you're looking at your sounds in the left-hand corner of the sound, depending on if you're in the video or if you're in the sound, there should be a arrow that's pointing up that will tell you if it's trending. There are some different areas that you can find those sounds as well in the Instagram app, but I think that is a major way to impact reach is using those trending sounds because, for example, it will be pushed out to other people that are listening to that sound. And then you'll hit a reach that you might not even know you didn't even maybe target, but you're still getting those views. Liza, anything to add?
No, I think that's good. And as far as sounds, it doesn't even need to be something with voice. There's a lot of sounds out there that are simpler that you can just put behind a video just so you're still ending up under that sound algorithm and getting into that secondary audience when they find that specific sound.
One more question. I want to keep it brief, but there are fantastic questions in the chat window, the questions window. Friends, please continue to use those. We are going to have until about another half hour here. We have a couple more slides to get through, but this is just as much a conversation for you as it is a delivery that we put together. So we want to make sure that you get all your questions answered. Rachel had a great question here, or maybe Rochelle. My wife has an E at the end of her name, so it's tough for me to know exactly how we're going to pronounce this one. We'll say Rochelle, though, in this case. How do you balance what's trendy and what's professional for your staffing company? Who wants to take that one?
I think this one can kind of vary depending on your company and a little bit of personal preference on what you do and don't want to post and how you want to position your company. So I think that one might be a little bit tough just depending on where you or how you want others to see yourself.
And with all videos, they should all still tie back to you and your services and how you can help. So as you can see with these two examples on the screen, we did post a video and a sound that really didn't have much to do with our services, but we still ended it with a good call to action to say, let us handle this issue or let us contact us today. We're still encouraging that response. So as long as you're still including a good CTA balance on there, we tend to post 4 to 5 times a week, I would say, for our clients. And if I was going to, I would do a good split between the two of them if you can. You want to have those fun posts and you want to have those service posts. So try to get a good mix of everything in there if you have the time to.
All right, let's keep moving. There's a couple more questions. Joyce, I'm going to get to you. And there was one more, if I scroll up without going too far from, I'm going to miss it. Rosanna, we're going to get to you, I promise. Keep it moving here. It's more than just clicking like. When we think about social media, it's more than just the vanity metrics. I mentioned the dopamine boost that comes from having a bunch of visibility and a ton of views and impressions on your content. But it is more than just clicking like. Heather, I think you're going to kick this one off for us. Walk us through why social media in 2025 is more than just likes and vanity metrics.
Yes, so I know I just talked about a little bit about algorithm with videos, but in general, posts with more likes, comments, and shares gets shown to more people, and engagement really drives that visibility. So I think the algorithm is a huge thing that we're always looking at because it's always changing. And then the other thing I would say is employee engagement. So posts with employee involvement have 33% higher click-through rate when your team likes, shares, comments. Your content reaches their networks too. A cool thing that we have with our platform, Net Social, is we can get your employees in on sharing the content that we're posting. So for example, we have our channels that are set up. We're posting to our channels, which ultimately get posted to your social platforms. They can just subscribe to the channel. And then that way it goes out on their social platform and they don't have to do anything. That way it's reaching their, like I said, their networks too. I think that's definitely a big thing that we like to preach here at Haley.
Yeah, and then as far as engagement sparks conversations. You're getting those authentic interactions and you want to encourage more engagement. You want to have posts that invite thoughtful responses. More responses on a post, more engagement on a post obviously helps it perform better. When your team is liking and commenting, it's going to encourage other people to like and comment as well. So maybe you asked a question and your first idea wasn't to have your team comment and answer it, but your team commenting and answering it actually is going to encourage people otherwise to also comment and answer once they see other people have already engaged with it and put in their 2 cents. So spark the conversation, have your team answer those questions to start, and get the conversation going and involve other people as well. So with that being said, take action. Tell them to log in every day right before they get offline and go like your post, go comment the post, amplify your message. Your team can also add their own thoughts to the message. So maybe you posted a blog about 2025 trends and what you're watching. Then your team can then repost it with their thoughts and their insights and what they want to add to the conversation. So it doesn't just end there. You can build on the content, and social media is the best way to do that.
Yeah, and just to talk about sparking conversation, sparking engagement, I was quickly making sure I had this right, but the mission of Facebook specifically is to give people the power to build community. And when we think about building community and we think about bringing people together, it's not just posting and posting and posting and hoping people see it. It's creating that engagement. It's creating a community of people who want to talk about a topic, who want to share like-minded conversation about a given topic. And it's about having the right content that speaks to an audience to grow that community. So I love what we're doing here. Again, it's not just about like, yes, it's a nice dopamine boost to see people liking your content and it feels good. But at the end of the day, friends, we don't make money on likes. We make money by putting great people to work and great opportunities. And we do that by growing a community, by driving meaningful conversations, by having meaningful engagements. Real quick, while we got you, friends, I know I've mentioned it once or twice already on today's episode of Lunch with Haley, but if you are not subscribed to the Secrets of Staffing Success podcast, I would encourage you to do so. Every week, we put out a brand new podcast episode, and we've done that for now over 5.5 years. As our lead host at Haley Marketing, I host 2 shows over here called Insights and Take the Stage. On Insights, I'm joined by Steve Gibson of Recruiters Websites to talk about what's working in digital and recruitment marketing. And on Take the Stage, I have the opportunity to bring conference caliber speakers to the podcast to talk about one of their sessions that you might see at a place like Staffing World or the Executive Forum or NAPS on stage in podcast form. See, what happened is about a year ago, I was traveling to a conference and I learned about the forgetting curve, which shows just 1 hour after learning material, 50% of it is gone. 1 week after learning new material, 90% of it is gone. So Take the Stage and Insights are built to have a system where you can come in, listen to the podcast, and continue to come back to continue to learn from thought leaders on Take the Stage or from individuals on our team on Insights. Again, you get both shows by subscribing to the Secrets of Staffing Success on your preferred podcast player. Or if you don't know what a preferred podcast player is, you don't listen to anything on Spotify or Apple Music, you can go to haleymarketing.com or YouTube to listen or watch the show. All right, let's keep it going. Because data doesn't interpret itself. I love this. Data to me doesn't really mean anything. It's the story behind the data, right? So let's talk about the awareness stage as it relates to social media.
Yeah, so now that you know what to post, understand how it works. You really got to understand how that person who's seeing that first post is now converting in the future. You're trying to guide candidates and clients on a journey through social media. So this is their journey that they are going through. First stage is the awareness stage. So you're generating visibility for your brand. This is the key content is your company culture, your job postings, your industry insights, people just getting to know you. People need to know you exist. So that's stage one, awareness. So now are people seeing your post? This is what you want to track. So how many times is your post being shown? That's what impressions is. Reach is how many viewers, unique viewers have seen this content, and the engagement rate, likes, comments, shares, and clicks. So now what to do at this stage is watch the engagement. Engagement rate is big for awareness. Is the content you're posting actually resonating with people? Are people actually liking it? Are they responding to it? You could have a great testimonial, but if it's not getting that engagement, you may want to rethink how you're presenting it and rewrite that story like we previously touched on.
And after we go from awareness, we go to consideration.
Yes, then we got the consideration stage. So that's nurture interest through a deeper engagement. So some things we look through over here are they actually interested? Are they clicking? I know Liza touched on that, but we check the click-through rate, the percent of people clicking on your links within that post. Time spent on the page indicates the interest level, and then that bounce rate. So the percent of visitors leaving after viewing one page. So those are just some things that we like to look at whether when we're trying some things out, seeing what's working. And like Liza said, if it's not, pivoting and seeing what else we can do.
And then from the consideration stage, we go to the conversion stage.
Yep. So conversion, how are people converting? Are they applying? Are you getting contact? Are you getting leads? You have to have clear call to actions in all posts because people need a direct reason to click and do something. They need to know what this next step is. You have to tell them exactly what to do. You can't just say call us. You can't just say contact us. Put it into words. Say book a free consultation. Say let us help you find your job. Say let us help you figure out your next steps. Don't just say give us a call. Make it clear on what the next path is, and that will lead to a higher conversion rate. So like I said, including those clear call to actions in every post is super important. Metrics to track includes the percentage of people completing the action, the number of new clients or candidates you received, and if you're spending any money on social media, are you actually spending the right amount of money? Are you making a return on that investment, or should you pivot your strategy? One thing to remember, it's not just about collecting the data, it's about using it to make decisions and constantly improve, adjusting your messaging and causing people to convert, changing it, and just kind of figuring out what your messaging should be on social media for your audience and what works the best. It's not it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you do have to test some things out with social media, but those conversions will come when you have clear actions for them to take.
And I want to be super clear in saying the conversion stage is very particular to you and your goals and your staffing firm. It's very easy for us to look at other staffing agencies or look at other companies and say, well, oh, they're doing this, so I need to be doing this. The truth is, though, friends, we don't know why they're doing the things they're doing, right? They have their own strategy, they have their own goals, and therefore they're deploying the tactics that they think are helping them reach those goals, right? When we think about the conversion stage, we need to know what it is that at the end of the day we're trying to achieve because of social media. We need to know what it is that we're looking to achieve in a quarter, a month, whatever it might be, and then are the tactics we're deploying getting us closer to exceeding that goal? So I love the conversion stage. It's something that I pay a ton of attention to, and I am very, very glad that we talked about this hierarchy of thinking about success across social media. Heather, anything to add on this slide before we keep it moving?
No, I think we're good. Liza covered pretty much it all.
All right, then let's talk about small changes making a big impact. Heather, you have the floor.
Yeah, we're kind of just bringing it home here and then kind of summing up a lot of what we talked about. Tell a success story now. Post a candidate or client success story. Highlight how you're making a difference. I think storytelling, it's you got to make sure you stick to your audience if you're telling a story and you want to make sure it's relating to your viewers. So making it specific and relatable, don't just say like we help people, but tell specific details and help them visualize themselves in that story. And always, I think a big part of storytelling is wanting them to come back. So wanting more stories, for lack of better terms, but I think that's a big thing when we are talking about social media as a whole. I think we've stressed it a lot in this webinar too.
Yeah, and then the next thing you could do today is get your team engaged. ask your employees to like, comment, and share your latest posts. Some employees just don't think about it. Social media is not at the top of their mind. You got to give them that nudge and that reminder. Send them this webinar to make them understand why social media is so important, and then they can learn to like, comment, and share and how to boost your brand with that. Employer advocacy is huge with this. You have to get your team involved. They're the best people to be the advocates for your brand. It starts with the company culture that the team is excited about, and then it turns into giving them the tools to share their story. So make sure your team knows what to share and knows how to share things. Maybe they're unaware. Give them a pre-written social media post as a guideline to start with that then they could add to. Maybe they just need a starting point. So make sure there's some clear guidelines on how your team can be the perfect advocate for you to encourage them to take action.
And then last point is just spark that conversation. Don't be afraid to start the conversation. I think engagement, and we've mentioned it earlier, but it's everything. You can't just talk to a wall. You've got to get people talking and liking and commenting, asking questions, polls. And I think ultimately social media, it takes effort. It's a lot. You have to be strategic. Don't just post randomly. You got to make sure you're intentional and authentic. And really just let your personality like shine through your brand, I think is a big part of these small changes, big impact.
Heather, Liza, there were a ton of takeaways over the last 45 minutes, and I know there are quite a few questions in the questions window and the chat window. Friends, I do want to open it up at this time to additional questions. Heather, Liza, I want to thank both of you for leading this month's episode of Lunch with Haley. I took a ton of notes myself. There's a ton of great takeaways here, friends. Feel free to watch the replay of this. If you missed anything, you'll go to lunchwithhaley.com. In the top navigation, click on webinars on demand. I would give our team a day or two to make sure that this video is processed and uploaded. But when you get to the office next week, it should be uploaded for you because we are approaching the end of the workday here on a Thursday. Let's give our team a little bit of time to get it wrapped up. But make sure that you share it with anyone who you think needs to see it in the industry, especially on your team. So with that, I want to open it up to a few questions. And there was one that showed up a few times. What platform is best to be posting on for staffing firms? Joyce shared it. Rosanna shared this question, and I forget who mentioned it in the questions. I apologize, but I saw it a third time. Actually, the third one was different. So Joyce and Rosanna both mentioned it. Heather, Liza, what is the best platform for staffing firms as it relates to social media?
Right now, we're seeing LinkedIn is the best platform. It's where the candidates are living. Social media specifically, a lot of clients, they're going to look at your social media, but that's not really what's going to get them to convert. Your website, conversations with your team, that is what's doing it. Candidates, they're the ones living on social, and they're the ones that are going to convert more frequently on social media, and that is LinkedIn. That is the perfect spot to engage with them, but it is getting harder, like you've mentioned, so you really have to focus on building that community. Make you the person they want to engage with, otherwise someone else is going to take them.
Heather, anything to add on that one?
No, I think I would say LinkedIn as well. Nothing really to add, but Liza's right. They do live there. That's what and I was actually going to mention this earlier, but with LinkedIn, I think it's also awesome to see what your connections are doing. And it's really cool when a company is posting one of my friends. I think it shows a little bit more of sometimes a personality that you don't really see from either your friends or your connections on LinkedIn. So I think that's definitely the main platform I would say right now.
Yeah, and my take on it is to start where you're comfortable, right? So yes, candidates, clients are existing in their own sort of ecosystems. Facebook, there's a comment about this in the questions window that we're going to get to. Facebook is starting to age out a little bit. There are newer platforms that have that younger demo's attention, but start where you're comfortable. If you're not sure where you want to get started, start with the platform that you know the best, because you'll be able to at least use it to its full potential and maximize that instead of saying, hey, let's jump in over here. You know, if you've never ran, I wouldn't encourage you to go out and try to run a marathon tomorrow, but I might encourage you to walk around the block and get started with where you're comfortable, right? So think about where it is that you can get started and then scale from there. A couple more questions here. Pulling up the questions window real quick. Benjamin, is there a specific social media platform besides TikTok where videos are performing the best?
So like we said a little bit earlier, LinkedIn is starting to test them out, but we don't have as much information on that now. But I do know that from my experience that Instagram is a really great platform to test videos. Liza, anything else that you would think to add? But I think Instagram's our best bet
Yeah,
there.
Instagram would be your best other bet right now.
Yeah, and I'll say I post daily videos on LinkedIn. I also share them on TikTok. We share them every now and again on Instagram for Haley Marketing. I see a ton of success on LinkedIn because of the basis of the content that I'm sharing. I am speaking directly to owners and senior level individuals in staffing and recruiting who are operating on LinkedIn daily. So I know that audience is looking for content there, and that's why it works well. For me, just what I've seen, TikTok gives me the dopamine that I need, but I don't see any sort of success from it. Right. So a video might get thousands of views, but I have yet to equate it to a new client that I'm talking with or a new lead that I might be talking with. LinkedIn, I absolutely can connect those dots. So again, what is your goal? When we think about what your overall goal is, outline that and make sure that that's detailed, and then deploy the video strategy that aligns with it. Pollock says, sorry if you've covered this, but what are realistic ROI expectations when it comes to video? Are we thinking about brand touch points? Are we thinking about conversation starters? Liza, Heather, what should we be looking at in terms of ROI from video that we share across social? Great question.
I think it's essential to think about that it's often more than just measuring an immediate conversation that you got from it. It's a versatile tool where you can get different awareness and engagement and loyalty from video. So it just provides a different platform almost and engagement method of versus just a static picture. You're starting that conversation and for them to then continue and reach out. So maybe they're not going to reach out right after that first video, but if you're consistently posting videos and they're getting to know you, that's where that conversation might lead. So I don't think there's a clear ROI metric, but just knowing that those videos are going to improve your brand and your awareness and who you are is going to lead to those conversations.
Heather, anything from you before I hop in?
No, that was a good one.
Yeah, and again, I think it's similar to the last answer that I had, but it's understanding your goals and it's understanding what ROI looks like to you, right? So when I am posting video on my LinkedIn, I'm not interested in views or comments, to be completely honest. The goal of doing that is to get more people to listen to the full episode of the podcast, because from there, we can have a good likelihood that those individuals will convert to having meaningful conversations with me down the road in terms of marketing consultation. So we sort of have this input yielding output. The input is daily videos that are leading to then the meaningful conversations down the road. So Pollock, again, it's understanding what your main goal is and then equating ROI against that goal. We have two more questions here. Brant, the population of Meta is aging, TikTok is losing adoption, and YouTube is the prevailing platform. Where should we focus in 2025 as less people use social media and more people are aware of the dangers of social media addiction? Heather, Liza, where do you want to take that one?
So my take on this one is I would say educational content is really big right now. I don't know about you guys, but when I need something, I either go to Chat GPT and I ask the question, or I'll even go to TikTok sometimes if I need to see a video of it. And I'll ask it random questions, and those videos that are coming up is kind of showing me exactly what I need to learn. So I think that's a really big point that we definitely want to stress in the future and right now is posting that educational content and using yourself as a thought leader, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, and kind of positioning yourself as a resource is definitely what we think we will want to see in 2025. Liza?
Yeah, I'm like Heather said, same thing, but I'm seeing an increase in podcasts as well. As we know, we have Brad has his podcast, and that is a huge educational value to our clients and for social media to clip down and give you those quick hitting tips. So that's where we're going to see that value with podcasts and social media hand in hand in 2025. I know starting a podcast on your own could be difficult, so I'm not going to say go start a podcast tomorrow, but I would say podcasting is a big thing that's going to blow up even more in the future.
Brett, my quick answer, and I'd actually love to put some more thought into this and probably talk about it with Steve on the show next episode. My short answer is going to be start where you're comfortable, right? So yes, the population of Meta is aging. Yes, TikTok is losing adoption. Yes, YouTube is prevailing if the content is good. There's a distinction there. Anyone can post on YouTube, but the players that get the most views are good pieces of content, right? So I agree with you there. Where do you get started? I think you need to look within and think about one, where are you most comfortable? Do you like writing content? Do you like written creative? Do you specifically like to be on video? Do you hate the thought of being on video? Do you like talking? Are you a good orator and a good communicator? And do you want to have a podcast? What works for you? You know, specifically for me, and I try to bring a lot of personal examples to talks like this. I'm not a great writer, but I really come alive on a video or on a podcast when I can speak. So that's the kind of content that I like to create. So if I was going to think about you specifically, I would say, where are you most comfortable? Start there and then scale out. And that's going to lead to another question that we have here. Maybe our final question, unless there's one or two more that trickle in, because we do have one or two more wrap-up slides before we get out of here. My agency is just my CEO and myself. So we're looking at a team of two. Day-to-day operations take over. Our social's active, but we have few followers because frankly, I don't have time for it. How can we smoothly start posting more? Do you think it's okay to just get started? Liza, Heather, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I can take this one. So I think it's perfectly good. Just get started. Consistency is key, even with a few followers. So you got to build that momentum, and it takes time. Like I said before, it's not a sprint. You got to take some time and engage it and post engaging content. The more you post, the more attraction it's going to get over time. I would say to start off, just since it's you two, like we said, LinkedIn is where our clients and candidates are living right now. Start by just focusing on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can schedule posts. You can go in and schedule 4 posts a week, maybe, and you're all set for the week. Take 20 minutes on a Sunday, maybe, if possible. Type out a few captions, and you're set for the week, hopefully. So start small. Like I said, most platforms do have a scheduling platform within it. LinkedIn does, so you can schedule those posts to go out that week and not have to think about it again, unless, once again, you should be engaging. So check those comments, see if people commented back, engage with them if you do have that time.
All right, we have one more question come in. Let's get to our kind of wrap-up slides here real quick. Friends, make sure you're signed up for Smart Ideas Weekly. You can scan the QR code from your mobile device. I know you're sitting at your laptops or your computer, whatever it might be. If you take out your mobile device, scan the QR code, it's going to take you directly to a landing page where you can sign up for Smart Ideas Weekly. Every week, we put together one great resource that's written in newsletter form, delivered to your inbox every single Saturday morning. Typically, that is a custom article written by our CEO, David Stearns, our co-CEO, David Stearns. Sometimes we have guest authors, but the only way to get that content first is to sign up for Smart Ideas Weekly. You'll also learn about our promotions. You'll learn about upcoming webinars and other events that we are a part of. But I can assure you the content within that newsletter is second to none. So again, if you're not signed up for Smart Ideas Weekly, I would encourage you to visit haleymarketing.com/Smart Ideas Weekly, or you can point your camera from your smartphone directly at the QR code on your screen now. And of course, we have our Make an Impact ebook that you can download immediately following this presentation. You can go to haleymarketing.com/make an impact. This is going to be sales and marketing ideas to transform your staffing business as we look at launching into 2025. Completely free, completely available to you if you go to haleymarketing.com/make an impact. And of course, we have 2 webinars coming up in November that I want to make sure you're aware of. We have a team of, I believe, 8 going to this year's Staffing World in Nashville. And on November 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern, they're going to bring everything that they learn over that conference to Lunch with Haley, so that if you are not in attendance, you can get at least the key takeaways directly from Team Haley. And then the week after, we have another Lunch with Haley, critical concepts every staffing owner must understand before selling their firm. So if you're interested in either topic, you can go to lunchwithhaley.com and register now. Or if you want to catch the replay of this webinar, you'll still go to lunchwithhaley.com and click on webinars on demand at the top. And with that, Heather, Liza, we have just one more quick question, and then I'll let you go. thoughts on balancing and posting the same content across multiple social platforms? Should we do it or should we not?
Definitely okay. I think so. You spent the time to make that one post, put it out. You have different audiences on all platform. No one's looking at all four and saying, why do they post the same thing? You're your company, you have the same platforms. It's okay to post the same thing. Do keep in mind though where your audience are living. If you're posting on Instagram, think about the location, think about the graphic you're choosing. It's very visual. If you're posting on LinkedIn, make sure you're tagging people in the post if you can. You're making it compelling. You're making someone want to apply. Think about your platform you're on in order to get that good engagement.
Heather?
I couldn't have said it better myself, so we're good.
Yeah, I think the same messaging works great across platform. Being mindful of how that platform operates is incredibly important. Tagging people when you can, whether it's a video or sharing related sort of visuals, making sure Instagram is more visually appealing because we all know how Instagram operates. Completely agree. Heather, Liza, absolutely fantastic job on today's Lunch with Haley. Thank you both for coming on and sharing your key insights on social media for 2025. Friends, real quick, one more time, if you want to watch the replay, if you want to share it with anybody on your team, you're going to go to lunchwithhaley.com early next week. You'll also get an email about this early next week. Click on webinars on demand and you'll be able to watch this back. Also, while you're there, make sure you sign up for both Lunch with Haley's that we have in November. For Liza and Heather, I want to thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and we will see you next month for Lunch with Haley. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.